My name's Richard, and for a long time, I believed I was a good husband. I've always been the kind of person who gives others the benefit of the doubt. I avoid unnecessary drama. I don't snoop through my wife's phone, and I try not to let the little things get to me. I thought being a good husband meant being understanding, patient, and willing to let things slide. But as I reflect now, I realize I might have been too forgiving. You see, my wife, Vanessa, has a habit of pushing boundaries, testing just how far she can go before I react. Sometimes it's the little things, overspending on unnecessary items or coming home later than she said she would. But there are times when it feels as if she's deliberately seeing how much I'm willing to tolerate before I finally stand up for myself. Then, there's Jake. I've known for a long time that Jake isn't just a friend. He's her ex. It doesn't matter how much time has passed. Men like him don't stick around for no reason. They bide their time, pretending to be the nice guy, just waiting for the right moment to make their move. I've brought this up with Vanessa more than once, directly telling her that I don't trust Jake. But every time, she brushes it off, saying I'm just being dramatic or jealous for no reason. He's just a friend, she'd say. You're overthinking it. He's like a brother to me. I wanted to believe her. I really did. So I let it go time and time again, convincing myself that I was overreacting, that I was just being insecure. But trust has its limits, and Vanessa was about to learn where mine ended. One evening, after dinner, we were sitting in the living room, unwinding as usual. She was scrolling through her phone, casually talking about her day, when she mentioned a weekend trip her old friends were planning. It was supposed to be a getaway to a beach house in the Bahamas, a chance for them to relax, catch up, and relive some college memories. On the surface, it seemed harmless. I had no issue with her spending time with her friends. We've always respected each other's independence, and I've never been the controlling type. But then she said Jake's name. The moment she mentioned that he'd be going, my stomach dropped. I knew this wasn't as innocent as she was making it sound. Her tone, the way she looked at me, it felt like a test. She wasn't just telling me about the trip. She was waiting to see how I'd react, whether I'd object or tell her not to go. And I realized that was exactly what she wanted. For years, I'd warned her about Jake. I'm not a jealous person by nature, but I trust my instincts. Jake isn't some harmless friend. He's a man who's been biding his time, waiting for an opportunity. I wasn't going to pretend otherwise anymore. But this time, I didn't react the way Vanessa thought I would. I didn't argue. I didn't remind her of all the reasons why Jake was a problem. And I didn't bring up the countless times I'd let things slide in the past. I simply looked at her and said, "If you go, don't bother coming back." She blinked, clearly taken aback, and then laughed, shaking her head. She acted like I was being absurd. "God, Richard, you're so dramatic," she said, rolling her eyes. Then came the usual excuses. "You're overreacting. Jake's just a friend. You really need to stop being so insecure." I didn't fight back, didn't argue. I just looked at her, my voice steady, and said, "Do what you want." And I was serious. Vanessa thought I was bluffing, just like she always did. She had no idea that this time I meant every word. The morning of her trip, she went about her routine as if nothing had changed. She hummed as she packed, carefully folding her clothes and deciding on what to bring. She moved at her own pace, stopping occasionally to check her phone, likely responding to messages from the group chat about the trip. Every now and then, she glanced at me, probably expecting me to say something that would remind her of what I had told her, but I said nothing. I just watched. When she finished packing, she wheeled her suitcase to the door and approached me. She leaned down to plant a quick kiss on my cheek, just like she always did before leaving for a trip. "Love you," she said with a light tone, almost dismissive, as if my warning from 2 days ago had never even happened. Then, without another word, she grabbed her keys and walked out the door. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. From the window, I watched as she tossed her suitcase into the trunk of a taxi, slid into the passenger seat, and drove away. The moment the taxi turned the corner and disappeared from view, I set my plan into motion. First, I had the locks changed. I'd already made arrangements with a locksmith the day before, and within an hour, the house was secure. Then, I began packing up her things, clothes, shoes, makeup, and all the little items she had scattered around. Everything that belonged to her was carefully packed into boxes, ready to be sent to her parents' house. I didn't want her to have any reason to return, not even for something as small as a forgotten sweater. And then, the divorce papers. That morning, I had called my lawyer to prepare the documents. There was no hesitation, no second thoughts. This wasn't just an idle threat. I had warned her, and she chose to ignore me. Vanessa had convinced herself that nothing would change when she returned. She thought she could go on this trip, laugh with her friends, spend time with Jake, and then come home as if everything was fine. She thought she knew me well enough to predict what would happen. I'd sulk for a few days, maybe give her the silent treatment, and then eventually let it go. But this time, things were different. I wasn't going to be the man who let his wife walk all over him. I wasn't going to be the husband who took disrespect and then welcomed her back as if nothing had happened. This time, I meant every word. I had drawn a line, and she had crossed it. Now, she was about to find out what that meant. When I left for work the morning she was supposed to return, I didn't think much about Vanessa. As far as I was concerned, she was a part of my past. The decision had been made, the preparations were done, and I was ready to move on. I assumed she was still at the beach house, enjoying her trip, completely unaware of what awaited her when she got back. But then, on the fourth day, 3 days earlier than expected, she showed up. I wouldn't have known if it weren't for the camera I had installed outside. Around lunchtime, I got an alert on my phone. Curiosity led me to check the live feed. There she was, standing on the porch, bags at her feet, her hand gripping the doorknob. She tried turning it, but the door didn't open. She tried again and again, her frustration building. I watched as she stepped back, brows furrowed in confusion. She leaned closer, inspecting the lock. That's when it hit her. The lock had been changed. Vanessa quickly fumbled for her phone, and within seconds, mine started ringing. I let it ring a few times before picking up. "Richard," she said, her voice shaking. "The door won't open." I simply replied, "You don't live there anymore." I spoke with a calm, detached tone. "Your things are at your parents' house. Expect the divorce papers in the next week or two." There was a long pause on the other end of the line. I could hear her breathing, shaky and uneven, as if she was trying to process the gravity of what I'd just said. Then her voice came through, desperate this time. "Richard, please, wait. Let me just..." I ended the call before she could finish. A few seconds later, my phone buzzed with another call. Then again, and again. Her name flashed on my screen, but I ignored each one. After the sixth call, I switched my phone to Do Not Disturb. I wasn't interested in whatever story she was about to spin. Soon, the messages began flooding in. "Richard, please talk to me. I messed up. I'm so sorry. It's not what it looks like." I sat there, watching the notifications pile up on my screen. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even sad. I felt nothing. This was the same woman who had laughed in my face when I warned her about Jake. The same woman who had kissed me goodbye, sure that I wouldn't do anything about it. And now she was begging me to listen. A new message popped up. "Please pick up. There's something important I need to tell you." Still, I didn't move. I checked the camera feed again. Vanessa was pacing on the porch now, her face flushed and her hands trembling. She looked frantic, running her fingers through her hair, likely wondering how everything had spiraled out of control. She was crying, shouting at the door, begging me to pick up. Then, after a long pause, she stopped texting and sent a voice message instead. I hesitated for a moment before pressing play. Her voice was wrecked, shaky, broken with sobs as if she had completely lost control of herself. She wasn't just upset, she was terrified. "Richard, please listen to me. You were right about Jake. I should have listened to you. I swear, I never expected any of this. I drank too much, and when I woke up..." She sobbed, gasping for air. "Jake did something. He recorded it. He's blackmailing me. I'm telling you now because I don't want you to find out from someone else. Please, Richard, I don't know what to do. I need you. I swear I didn't mean for this to happen." She was desperate, pleading with me, hoping that because she was wrong, I would step in and save her, that I would take her back and clean up the mess she'd created. I listened to the entire message in silence. When it ended, I typed out one final message, the last thing I'd ever say to her. Enjoy your life, Vanessa. You made your choice. Now live with it. And then I blocked her. I never looked back. Not once did I check in on her, ask how she was, or wonder if she was okay. I had spent enough time giving her the benefit of the doubt, only for her to throw it back in my face. She made her choice, and now she had to live with it. From what I heard, it didn't take long for her life to start falling apart. Her parents weren't happy with her. They didn't know all the details, but they knew enough. They knew she had walked away from a good marriage, that she'd gone on that trip despite my warning, and that when she returned, her home was no longer Hayes. Her mother tried to be supportive, but her father, he was furious. He'd always respected me, saw me as a steady man who took care of his daughter. Now, he had to take her in because she had nowhere else to go. Her friends weren't much better. A few tried to reach out to me, sending weak messages, trying to justify what had happened. Richard, she's really sorry. You don't have to throw everything away over one mistake. At least hear her out. I ignored every single message. I didn't care what they had to say. They weren't the ones who had to live with her choices. And I had made it clear I was done. Then there was Jake, the man she had risked everything for. As soon as he realized things were falling apart, he disappeared. I'm sure he thought he was untouchable, but when Vanessa started talking about how he had recorded her without consent, that all changed. He knew damn well he could face jail time for blackmail. And just like that, he vanished. The man she threw everything away for wouldn't even answer her calls. So there she was, alone, humiliated, and full of regret. Meanwhile, I moved on. I focused on myself, my career, and my future. I refused to waste a single second wondering if she missed me or realized how badly she'd messed up. But deep down, I already knew. From the constant stream of messages, I could tell some mistakes can't be undone. Some choices come with consequences you can never escape. She thought I was bluffing. She thought I was just making an empty threat. She was wrong. And that's how my wife learned that when you push someone too far, sometimes they never let you back in.